Shalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a shining torchlight of transcendent knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisance to the Santos at his feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, entitled Attaining the Supreme. Text number 22.
Yes.
So we've been hearing a description about the spiritual world, And as I mentioned, Bhagavad Gita only gives you just a little outline of what the spiritual world is like. And Prabhupada in the purport, in 21 purport, he gives a more detailed description about the spiritual world from the Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma gives very detailed. I highly recommend, if you don't have a Brahma Samhita, it's only a small book, just pick it up. It's you can order it online or something, or some devotees may be able to get it. And it's amazing, detailed description. Prabhupada would say sometimes that in this Hare Krishna movement, we know who God is, what his name is, where he lives, what he looks like, how he dresses, what he eats, who his friends are, what he does during the day, everything like that. We know his phone number. You know what his phone number is? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's how we connect with him. So in that detail that we have, a lot of it comes from books like the Brahma Samhita. And also sections of the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita give very detailed description about Krishna. But it just give us a little sample of the spiritual world here in the Bhagavad Gita, and not much detail, but other literatures have lots of detail. Okay, so let's look at this verse, recite this verse for 22. Purusha sa parapata Bhaktya labhyas tvananyaya Yasyantastani bhutani Yena sarvam idam tatam
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all providing, and everything is situated within him.
So we've been hearing a little bit about the spiritual world. Now, how to get there? Okay, we've heard about the spiritual world. You might think, well, it sounds really good, the spiritual world. It's a place beyond this temporary world of manifested and unmanifested, and it's eternal. And it's eternal place, and once you go there, you never come back here to this world of misery. So that sounds pretty good. I want to go there. What do I have to do? What you have to do is you have to realize that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's the greatest person. You have to realize that God is great. And that's actually a good thing. Like in the Muslim religion, Allah means God is great. Allah Akbar. So God is the greatest. And that point we have to realize that God is great, and that I am, if God is great, then what am I? God is great and I am great also. No, I'm not great. God is great and I'm small. So that if we want to go back to the spiritual world, we have to realize God is great, Allah Akbar, and I am small. I am very small. How small are we? Does anyone know how small we are?
It's a fraction of the
It's
one
a
hair, isn't it?
1,000 time of your hair,
Just
on
get
tip of the hair.
it, pull it your hair, and then if you
1,000 times.
divide it, if you divide the tip of your hair 100 times, and that 100th part of a hair, divide that again another 100 times, and that's how big we are, 1/10,000th. The thickness, and it's not the thickness of the hair, it's the thickness of the tip of the hair. The tip is even thinner than the actual hair. Just the tip of the hair, you know. So we're very small. We're called anu, anur, or anu. Anu means like atomic in size. The Vedic word for atom is anu or anur. So we're atomic in size. So God is great, and we are anu. We are very small. And so this is what, if we want to go to this wonderful spiritual world, which is beyond this miserable world, and when you go there, you never come back, then what you have to do is you have to fully not just understand that God is great, I'm small, but you have to accept it. Have we actually, we might know it theoretically, philosophically, but have we accepted it in our heart? Are we happy with that? Are you happy with that, Deepa Gulshan Abai? You know, are you happy to accept that? Or do you feel when you hear that God is great and I'm small, do you feel a bit of jealousy? Do you feel a bit of envy? You know, if you feel a bit of jealousy or envy, then you haven't accepted it. But if you just happily accept that, yeah, I'm good with that. I have no problem with that. God is great, I'm small. You know, but if you feel a bit resentful every time you hear someone say, God, Krishna is great, God is great, Allah Akbar, then if you feel a bit of resentment or, you know, hatred or something like that, then you've still got a ways to go, you know. You won't be able to go to the spiritual world. Because, you know, if you go back to the spiritual world, you have to be prepared to serve God, because that's what everyone does there. If you don't want to serve God, then stay in the material world, you know, and that's what the place is for people that don't want to serve God. But in the spiritual world, the one common denominator is that there's only one master and everyone else is the servant. Everyone else is the servant. So even in the spiritual world, like God's father, Krishna's father, Nanda, his mother Yashoda, another father, Vasudeva, Devaki, even though they're all, you know, senior positions, you could say, as parents, but their mood is to serve Krishna. They all want to serve Krishna. All the gopis, Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka, they all in the mood of serving Krishna. His cowherd friends, Sridharma, Subal, Madhumangala, they all want to serve Krishna. His carrier, Garuda, his chariot driver, Daruka, they all want to serve Krishna. You know, like even like other incarnations like Ram, you have Hanuman and all the other monkeys, Jambavan, the bears, they all in the mood of serving Krishna. So in the spiritual world, they're in ecstasy to get an opportunity to serve Krishna, you know. And all the dregs that don't want to serve Krishna, then they're like tossed in the material world. So yeah, once we're happy to serve Krishna again, then we can go back. That's the main thing that keeps us here, is that we don't want to serve Krishna. As soon as you accept that fact that he's my master, he's the greatest master, I'm his eternal servant, then you got your ticket out. Then you can go out. As soon as you accept that in your heart, you know. But just knowing it in your head, but if you're fighting it in your heart, then you're not there yet. You have to actually accept that in your heart. Be happy to serve Krishna like that. So this is the qualification, and like it said, it's attainable by unalloyed devotion. Unalloyed devotion. And like I said, devotion, or you know, love means service. The Vedic understanding of love is service, because if you love someone, you want to do something for them naturally. It means love is not a noun, it means a naming word. Love is a verb. It means it's a doing word. It's not a noun, it's a verb. If you love someone, you want to do something. You bring them some flowers, you cook for them, take them out to dinner, go for a walk on the beach, give them a gift, whatever like that. And it's natural. If you love someone, you want to do something for them. So, and then Prabhupada's put a very special word in before the word devotion or love or service, unalloyed. Unalloyed. Do you know what unalloyed means? It's used quite often.
Not
Unalloyed.
tarnished.
Untarnished. Okay.
Untarnished, yeah.
Okay.
Pure love.
Pure. That's a very good alternative word.
Mm-hmm.
And usually in the terms of, or used in the terms of metals. If you mix different metals together, that's called an alloy. If you mix different metals. But if you have only one metal, that's called unalloyed. Like there was one company called Unalloyed Steel. Unalloyed steel means the steel isn't mixed with anything. It's not mixed. It's just steel. So it's called unalloyed steel. Or you could have like unalloyed gold. It means it's only gold. They haven't put any silver in there or copper or brass or tin.
They don't call unalloyed gold because they have to put something in there in order to make an ornament or something. That's why they don't call unalloyed gold. They have to have mix something.
But like if you buy like a gold coin or a gold bar, they say 99.99%.
Not 100%. They don't say 100%.
Yeah. Because there might always be, I suppose, in the ground, there's some other things there. It's hard.
Only 100% is one person, which is Krishna.
Yeah.
No one is.
Only with
because
bhakti,
gold, I think if pure gold, it's very soft.
Yeah, very soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to make jewelry, then you need to mix something. So that's alloyed, it's alloyed gold.
Yes.
Like that. But so that's the idea, why it's saying here that going to the spiritual world is only possible by unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. So that means not mix with what? Okay, let's look at what some of the mixes are. Let's look at I think it's the last verse of the 11th chapter, 1155.
1155.
1155.
My dear Arjuna, he who engage in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who work for me, who makes me to the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly in every living being, he certainly comes to me without any doubt.
Yeah, so here it is, my pure devotional service, free from the contamination. So this is the alloy. Here's the mix. This is the contamination in the service. Is how do you contaminate that service? Is with fruitive activities and mental speculation. So that's what we call karma and jnana. Karma and jnana. So this is an alloy or a contamination in the pure bhakti. So fruitive activities, what's that? Means personal desires, material desires. If we have material desires, that's an alloy, that's a mix into our pure desire just to serve Krishna. So you have this pure desire, the soul has a pure desire to serve Krishna, but if you add other desires in there, other desires other than to please Krishna, other than to please and serve Krishna, then that becomes a contamination or an alloy. Like what's some other desires that you could have that mix your bhakti? Like you could have a desire to go to heaven. That's an alloy. That's a contamination. You could have a desire to take birth in a rich family or a better body. You could have a desire to become famous, to become popular, to become a millionaire, to look beautiful, or to have a a wonderful husband or wife, or 10 strong children or something, or so
More
many
than one
desires.
wife.
What's that?
More than one wife.
Yeah, you could desire that, to have 20
Yeah,
wives that serve me hand and foot.
Lord Rama's father Dashrath has got 4.
Whoosh.
Yeah. So
But
even
Lord Rama has 1, so he made the rule only 1. That's it.
yeah, he's showing a good example how to control one's desires like that. And so yeah, there's unlimited desires, and materialistic people, they have unlimited desires, and pure devotees, they just have one desire, just to please Krishna. And let's look at that verse talking about how a devotee just has one desire and materialistic people have many desires. So we'll come back to this verse in a little bit. But so what's that verse? That's Bhagavad here. That's 2nd chapter, text 59. 2nd chapter, 59.
Through the embodied soul.
Oh, no, wrong. I got it wrong. Hang on. 59.
Spelling mistake.
Spelling mistake. 259. Vyavasayatmaka buddhi kaha kulunandana Ushaka and Buddhyo Vyavasayana. Where is it? 241. Yeah, 241.
Final answer. Log it in.
Yeah.
Those who are on the path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kuru, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
So on this path, means the path of Krishna consciousness, being a devotee, then just have one purpose. Their buddhi, the intelligence, is just focused on one thing, pleasing Krishna, serving Krishna. Whereas all the rest, the non-devotees, the materialistic people, they're many branched, bahu shaka. That means their intellect is going many directions. I want a house, I want a car, I want money, I want to be successful, I want to be the CEO, I want to become popular, I want this and that. There's so many desires. I want to eat this, I want to drink this, I want to live there. It's unlimited. They got unlimited desires. And typical examples is like Ravana, right? So many desires. I mean, he had beautiful wives, Ravana, but then when he heard about Sita, then he wanted Sita as well. When he heard that she's so beautiful, so chaste, wife of Lord Ram and that, then he said, I'll have her too. So like that. And Hiranyakashipu, he wanted to he had his own wealth and everything, but then he wanted to take over Indra's as well. So he kicked Indra out of heaven, and he was sat in Indra's throne in heaven. And then he's still not satisfied. And then he wants to kill Vishnu also, so like that, because Vishnu killed his brother, like that, Hiranyaksha. So they have so many desires. There's a nice verse too about more detail about all those desires in the 16th chapter. 16th chapter. Let's have a look. Where? It's a string of verses. Oh yeah, 13 to 15. This is putting you in the head of a materialistic non-devotee.
Very big. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. so much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I'm the Lord of everything. I'm the enjoyer. I'm the perfect, powerful, and happy. I'm the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance.
So there's so many other desires, so many. There's no limit to them, and this is what the mind is doing, generating so many ideas of how we can be happy in this world. But the real idea is that we can't be happy in this world. We belong in the spiritual world with Krishna, and that by serving Krishna then we'll be happy. That's the real idea. All these other ideas is just ignorance. This is never going to take place, never going to happen. So yeah, the pure devotee just has one desire. I just want to please Krishna. Or you could say, I just want to please my spiritual master. And there's no difference in those two statements, because the spiritual master or the guru is a representative of Krishna. So Prabhupada said, I only ever asked one question of my guru. You know what that was? He said, how can I serve you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the single desire in the heart of a devotee. How can I serve Krishna? How can I serve my spiritual master? And they don't have any other desires. They don't want to become rich or famous or successful or anything like that. Satisfied with whatever Krishna provides. We don't have to think about ourselves, because Krishna's thinking about us. Krishna's organizing everything.
But they can be, sorry, they can be all that, I mean, successful in whatever ways.
Yep.
But if their consciousness is still in service of Krishna, then it should be kosher, so to speak.
Yeah. But see, all this, so it's not that a devotee can't do a job or can't have a family or whatever. He's only going to desire to please Krishna. But the thing is that all these, having a job and making some money in that is helping us in our serving Krishna. And you could say, well, how is it that having a family life is helping us to serve Krishna? Because, and it does, because, like, for example, that for many people, living in a family situation helps the mind to be more peaceful. And if the mind's more peaceful, then we can be more Krishna conscious. Some people, it's just too disturbed, without having a family situation like that. And it's not for everyone, but I mean, there are many people like that. And even it's mentioned some great personalities in the Bhagavatam, that there was one, I'm just trying to remember his name, there was one great king, and Yayati, one great king, Yayati, and he was cursed by a great sage that he would become immediately old. It was actually by Shukracharya, the spiritual master of the demons. He cursed Yayati because Yayati married one of his daughters, Devayani, and then because like we've mentioned that sometimes the kings would have more than one wife, like Gulshan mentioned. So he had another wife called Shamista, and Devyani said that don't spend time with Shamista, and but he did, and he got not only spent time but gave her a child. And then Devyani became jealous, and then she told her father Shukracharya, and Shukracharya cursed him that he'll immediately become old. So, and then he immediately got an old body, and then he begged Shukracharya, can you please, mellow down your curse a little bit? It's not good for your daughter either, because now your daughter has a very old husband. And then he sort of realized that he couldn't really take it back, that once you deliver a curse, you can't really take it back. But he said what he could do, that you can transfer the curse to one of your children. If you transfer the curse to one of your children, you can take their youthfulness and you can give them your old age if they accept that. So he asked his oldest son first, Yadu, will you please swap me your youth for my old age? And he said no. And but the reason why he said no is interesting. He said that if I don't go through family life, but I immediately become like, at the end of life, like a sannyasi, then I won't be able to completely detach myself from sense gratification and purify my heart of sense gratification if I don't get to go through that grihastha ashram like that. And he knew that in future that God himself would appear in his family tree, in his family line, because we know, right, Krishna appeared in which dynasty? The Yadu dynasty.
Yadu dynasty.
They're known as the Yadavas. So actually the forefather of the Yadu dynasty, it's Yadu, who was the eldest son of Yayati, King Yayati. So he knew that in future that Krishna would appear in his dynasty. So he knew that this is just going to stuff everything up, because then I'm not going to have any dynasty. I'm just immediately going to become an old person and there won't be any dynasty. So how is Krishna going to come in my family if I never even have a family, and I can't properly detach from material desires if I just suddenly become old and I never had an opportunity to experience, all these things and become detached, gradually. So, and then, so the father was actually happy with him, that this was a very legitimate reason why he can disobey the order of the father. Because in Vedic culture, it's very strict. Whatever the father says, the children have to be obedient.
What do you mean Vedic culture? We're talking about this life. My father say, and I do. That's it. There's no other thing. Otherwise, there is a belt and the wickets and a bat and everything. Anything he got in his hand, that's it.
Yeah, so there's still some remnants of Vedic culture in India and stuff. Oh, yeah. But then the next group of children, the next 3 children, they refused also, but they didn't have any good reasons. Not that, Krishna's going to appear in my family and all that stuff, and I need to become slowly detached or whatever. They didn't have any good reasons, so he cursed them. He cursed them that they'll become malechas and yavanas. So it said actually, they were actually said, those younger children of Yati, they're the origins actually of all the Europeans apparently. So they're my forefathers. As all these cursed these cursed children of Yati that rebelled against the father, like that. And then the youngest son, trying to remember his name, the youngest son, I should remember, he's famous. The youngest son, when the father said, will you take my old age, give me your youth, he immediately said yes. He immediately said yes. And the father was very pleased with him, very pleased with him. And what happened was, so then the father got his youth back, and then he enjoyed like anything with Devayani and others and had a lot of sense gratification there. And then in due course of time, he realized, I've had enough sense gratification. I need to get ready to go back to Godhead. I'll give my youth back to my son again. So then he handed it back. He handed it back to that son. And he was really, really became blessed. I'm just trying to remember his name. I think it was Puru. I think it was Puru. But I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he was a very good son. So he had two good sons. The oldest one, he was also very Krishna conscious, and also the youngest son was very good.
Same as the Bhishma as well. For his father, he took the vow to be not to get married, because he's getting remarried, and then the next will get that whole his property and all that. So he said, okay, I'm not gonna get married. Now I have a children. This is my things there. So, but he just stick on his whatever promise is, because of his father.
But getting back to Deepa's question, so there can be other things in a devotee's life, but they are supporting our Krishna consciousness. That's the idea. That my having a family is not separate from Krishna consciousness. It's supporting my Krishna consciousness. And, having a job and having money is supporting my Krishna consciousness. If I have money, I can get a Bhagavatam set. If I have money, I can go to India, go to Vrindavan, go to Mayapur, whatever, South India, blah, 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 like that. So, all these things are supporting our Krishna consciousness. I can eat good quality food and have good health. And with that good health, I can do a lot of chanting and, do a lot of physical work and like that for Krishna and spread Krishna consciousness and everything like that. So yeah, it's not against our Krishna consciousness if you're doing other activities, but actually while you're doing all of the activities, the pure devotee is thinking, I'm doing this to please Krishna. I'm doing this to serve Krishna. Like here, I'm doing a lot of gardening and different things, growing, edible things and that. But my purpose underlying all of these other things is to try to please Krishna. Because Prabhupada, one of the instructions Prabhupada said is that I want you to live a simple life, simple living, high thinking, plain living, high thinking. I said, I want you to grow your own food and live simply on the land and chant Hare Krishna. So, we're trying to carry that out with the idea that, if I follow Prabhupada's instructions, then he'll be pleased, like that. So it can seem like a devotee's doing many things, but underlying it all, it's for the purpose of pleasing Krishna, pleasing the spiritual master. Just like a mother may do many things, she's washing clothes, cleaning the dishes, cooking, cleaning the house, everything, doing gardening. But while she's doing all those things, she might be thinking about her baby. She's just thinking about her kid. While she's doing so many activities, but she's thinking about her little child, little baby. And that's love, right? If you love someone, you're always thinking about them. It doesn't matter what you do. You're always thinking about them like that. So it doesn't limit, having only one desire to please Krishna doesn't limit you to doing only one activity, but it means while you're doing many activities, you're always thinking about, I want to please Krishna, I want to serve Krishna, like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Activity can be more, but desire should be one.
Yes. So it doesn't matter whether you do one activity or 100 activities, but what matters is how many desires you have. We just have one desire. And basically, do we have a desire to please Krishna, or we have a desire to please ourselves? If we have a desire to please ourselves, then that expands unlimitedly, like what we read in that 16th chapter. You know, no one is more richer than me. I am the greatest, you know, I am successful, you know, all my enemies will be destroyed and I will be victorious and blah, blah, blah. And always, you know, so many anxieties because of all those desires actually create anxiety. And that's why there's so much stress and anxiety in modern day society, because we have so many material desires. One benefit of removing all these material desires, you become immediately peaceful. You immediately become peaceful, you know, like that. And so that's one contamination or alloy in our pure bhakti, is these material desires. The other one mentioned in that verse, last verse of the 11th chapter, is mental speculation. Mental speculation. You know, so that's all, like Prabhupada would often say, oh, you have a fertile brain. You have a fertile brain, like that. And he used the word mental concoction. So mental concoction, fertile brain, mental speculation. So this is what the mind is doing, concocting. And there's actually a connection between the mental speculation and the material desires, or the fruitive activities. Actually, the material desires that we have come from the mind. So there's a connection between these two contaminations. So what comes first? The material desires come first, or the mental speculation comes first? It's actually the mental speculation. Because all these desires, where are they coming from? They're coming from the mind.
Right.
There's one verse, trying to remember, is it the 12th chapter, text 6? Desires. No. Sankalpa. Let's just, I'm going to look it up in the back. See if I can find it. Sankalpa. Sankalpa.
Just fix the mind upon me, the Supreme Person of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. So you leave me always without me.
Sankalpa.
Deepa, you don't come to Bhakti Tree anymore these days. What's happening? We're still making a prasadam.
I know.
We are not on the strike to have a pay rise. Have to
But
come have a
people are
prasadam.
asking, like some of the people who I've brought there before, they say, oh, but I went there on, you know, a Monday or a Tuesday or something, and it was closed. Then I say, oh, it's
Jagannath is resting 3 days a week. Jagannath rest. Because it's very cold.
So yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Anyone come, you'll get a Jagannath Prasadam, guarantee.
Did you go for the Rath Yatra in Liverpool?
No, I went there. I was distributing the Prasadam.
You went. I didn't know. I didn't know it was on this past weekend.
Are you in the mailing list? If you're on the mailing
thought
list,
so, but I
should have
don't
to
know.
get
I
the
missed
mail.
it. I missed it, and
Bhakti
yeah.
Mala send the mail. If you're on the mailing list, if you're not in the mailing list, put yourself on the mailing list. So any events will happen that you will get the.
No, I do get something, but I don't know how I missed that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't meant to go.
And last Saturday was the Sydney one.
Yeah, Sydney. I mean, the Sydney one, I mean, I didn't know because I called Rakshit to ask him something, and he said, oh, I'm in the Rath Yatra. Are you here? I said, oh, no, I didn't. In Sydney, they were in Liverpool, yeah.
Oh, I went there last year. There was 5,000-6,000 people.
You didn't go? Did you go this year? This last weekend?
No. I went there last year. This year I didn't. This year I went to the New Gokula. New Gokula was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was like a 500-600 people. And pulling that the rope for the rut, it's just like it's very tremendous feeling.
If you can pull the one in Liverpool, it's good. And I was.
If you pull that one in the Jagannath Puri, you go straight to Bhagavad Dham. That's without any doubt.
I was searching for something on my Facebook. I was just searching. So I was scrolling through many things. Then I saw all the video and the TV news clip of our
3 weeks ago,
2020, and I thought, oh my goodness, it's already 4 years.
3 weeks ago, there was in Jagannath Puri the Rath Yatra. It was on Monday. Oh, millions of people there.
624.
Biggest gathering on the earth. But it was
nice. Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath Ki Jai.
Yes.
Okay, I've got the verse. 6 chapter 624.
624.
One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desire born of a mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind.
So there you go. Material desires are born of mental speculation. So these are the two main contaminations in our bhakti, is material desires and mental speculation. And the material desires are born, or they come from, the mental speculation. So what is the main important thing we need to do in bhakti is we need to control the mind, because it's this mental speculation that gets us in big trouble. And
can't control it.
Control the mind. And, you know, like Arjuna says just a few verses after this, to control the wind, it's 634. To control the wind is like just to control the mind is just like to control the wind. How do you control that?
It's harder to control. Like he said that I can control the wind with my bow and arrow. Mind, I can't.
So if we read that 634.
634?
Yeah, just a few verses after, yeah.
For the mind is restless, turbulent,
obstinate,
and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it's more difficult than controlling the wind.
But then,
and the next verse,
that's his solution he gives.
Lord Krishna said, Almighty son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment.
Yeah, so he's actually agreeing with Arjuna. Yeah, I agree. It is difficult, but it's possible by suitable practice and detachment. So what's the most suitable practice to help us control the mind? What is it? What's the most suitable practice we have that can help us to control the mind?
To focus it on serving Krishna and chanting?
Yeah, chanting. Chanting is the best way. That's the best suitable practice. He's mentioning a suitable practice. So that's the most suitable practice to help us control in Kali Yuga. You know, in different yugas it'll be different. The suitable practice in Satya Yuga will be meditation. The suitable practice in Treta Yuga will be fire sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga temple worship, and in Kali Yuga chanting the holy name. So, you know, that's the suitable practice, is to chant the holy name to control the mind. And actually, Lord Chaitanya, and he left only 8 verses, Shiksastaka, and he glorifies this process of Harinam Sankirtan. In the first verse, he says, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that this chanting of Krishna's names, it cleanses the mirror of the mind. Cleanses the mirror of the mind. Chaito Darpana Marjanam. Chaita means the mind. Darpana means,
it's a mirror.
Mirror. Yeah, it's a mirror. mirror. And marjanam means cleaning. It's cleaning. Just like the day before, Rath Yatra is called Gundicha Marjana. Gundicha Marjana. So that's a temple down the road from the Jagannath Puri temple, is called Gundicha temple. So Jagannath goes in the Rath and stays at that temple for 1 week. So before he arrives there, what the devotees want to do is clean it. You don't want to, he moves into a dirty place. So that's called Gundicha Marjana, cleaning the Gundicha temple. So we also, we want to invite Krishna into our heart, into our mind. But what do you want to do before you invite him?
To clean your heart.
You have to clean your heart. And what's the best way to clean the heart? That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, by chanting Hare Krishna. This chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra cleanses the heart. And it's amazing, I went from being a full-on materialist to being a Krishna conscious person. And how is that possible, that transformation? It was just because I started chanting and taking prasadam.
Yeah.
I started chanting, taking prasadam and hearing about Krishna, and that just completely changed my heart. And then I immediately became Krishna conscious just by taking up the suitable practice. So if it can work on a full-on materialist like me, then it can work on anyone. You just take up the right practice. If you chant Hare Krishna, of course, if someone doesn't want to chant Hare Krishna, then we say, sorry, can't help you.
And the association.
They don't want to chant, they don't want to take prasadam. If someone, like we have one of our neighbors, he told another one of our neighbors, so this one neighbor told another neighbor that, oh, I don't want to eat this Hare Krishna food. I think they do something with their food. And she said, yeah, they offer it to God. I said, oh, I don't want to eat that. So then we're sorry, we can't help you, mate. You don't want to eat prasad. You don't want to chant the holy name. Then, well, stick with your mind. Have fun with your mind. And this guy has got so much like hypertension, hyper stress, hypersensitive, everything hyper, because just the mind is out of control. And we can help all these people, but they only if they're prepared to take up the process that we're recommending, which is to chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, like that, hear about Krishna, and then we can help you hyper this, hyper that, crazy this, crazy that, so we can stress this and that. We can help all these things. And like people came to Prabhupada and said, how are you converting these drug addicted hippies and stopping them, they're not even drinking tea and coffee after coming to Prabhupada, so how are you doing it? And Prabhupada said, just by chanting Hare Krishna, just by chanting Hare Krishna. And automatically they gave up drugs and meat eating and so many bad habits just by chanting Hare Krishna. Because the government at that time, the United States government was spending millions and millions of dollars to try to stop the hippies taking LSD. They couldn't stop. There was an epidemic of people taking LSD. And no one could do anything. Prabhupada was the only one that could get people off drugs. And how was he doing it?
Hippie to become happy.
Yeah, hippie to become happy. And it was just by chanting Hare Krishna. But it's just so simple. People think it's not possible. It doesn't seem like, a very big thing. But yeah, it's a massive thing. But it's really easy to do. And like Prabhupada said, we're not charging anyone to chant Hare Krishna, but they still don't want to chant, even though it's for free. It's so easy, simple. Even a child, like Prabhupada said, even a child can chant Hare Krishna. But the people are so rebellious, like it's mentioned in that 634, the mind is very obstinate. Obstinate means like a rebel. No, I'm not going to do it. No, don't tell me. I'll tell you, like that. And the mind's so obstinate, so stubborn. Another word for obstinate is stubborn. It's so stubborn. We just, like there's a cartoon Prabhupada would tell, where a wife tells her husband, chant, chant, chant. And what does the husband reply?
Can't.
Yeah, can't. you know, it's, that he's got a different mantra. He's got his own mantra. So it's the same effort it takes to chant, but he would rather say the opposite thing, you know, anything except for that, you know. So it's just, people are just rebels, you know, and unfortunately they just have to keep suffering until their pride is crushed enough and become humble enough to take up the chanting process. But that is the process recommended to help us get free from the mental speculation. I realized when I joined that this mental speculation is a big obstacle, and that was my whole life before that, was just speculating. So I always tend to just, you know, speculate away in my mind. And then after I joined, I realized I had to stop the speculation. So, and devotees would ask me, oh, what's going on over there? And I'd say, I don't know. What's this about? And I'd say, I don't know. And then I keep saying, I don't know. And then some devotees would get frustrated with talking with me, because every time they'd ask me a question, I'd say, I don't know. And then say, oh, why do you just keep saying I don't know? And I said, well, because I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate if I don't know something, you know, because.
But there is a difference between Westerners and Indian. Indian doesn't even know that. Still, he speculates. You ask him a direction, he doesn't even know the direction, but he will tell you.
No, it's not just Indians. It's universal. People don't know, and they'll still tell.
Westerners are fair income. If they don't know, they say don't know.
Nah.
But the Indian, even if they don't know, they still guide you.
But even my diet, my food before I joined was a complete speculation, which was so bad for my health. I would just, and even after I joined, I was still struggling to give up this habit of speculating. And even after I joined, like, for one period of time, I was just eating out of half a coconut shell. I speculated this is the way to be an advanced devotee. It's just to imitate great devotees like Raghunath Das Goswami, who didn't eat much. So I speculated this is how to become advanced, by just eating out of half of a coconut shell. And then I got so sick. And then I speculated that I should just eat raw food. That's more advanced devotees just eat raw food and don't cook food. And then I got more sick. And then I just ate like dry fruits and nuts for a while. And then I got more sick. And then what nearly finished me off completely, I had the brilliant idea that just drink raw milk. So after drinking that, you know, one time there must have been too much bacteria in the raw milk, and that nearly killed me. I nearly died. So that time the speculation nearly finished me off. And then after that, then I just surrendered. Then I just say, I'll just take whatever prasadam comes. I'll just take whatever mercy Krishna gives, you know, and if he wants to kill me, then let him kill me, you know, like that. So, but yeah, mental speculation is a big part of our lives, you know, but it's actually a big obstacle to the pure bhakti. So we have to watch out for that one. And the best way to avoid speculation is you just hear from the scriptures, hear from the guru. So we have three things: guru, sadhu, and shastra. So that's guaranteed. That's the right thing. The guru, the spiritual master. Sadhu means the saintly people, like devotees. And then shastra, the scriptures. So we just take.
You are number two.
The sadhu.
Aspiring to be. I'm trying to be a sadhu. in the what do they say, in the works, like that. So yeah, that's the best thing, not to just hear from our mind, because our mind can come up with some crazy ideas. If you do have an idea, I mean, that's okay, but just check it with the sadhus or the guru, like that, and read the scriptures. And if you read the scripture, you'll know that what I just thought about doing. Oh yeah, that says that you can do that in the scriptures, so that's all good then. So you just check.
It doesn't say not to strive for your highest potential. You can still do that, and still serve, and still chant, and all that, right? And read the scriptures. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our highest potential is to surrender to Krishna, and then he'll use us as an instrument, you know, so he'll empower us. And he can give us strength, he can give us knowledge, he can give us wealth, he can give us so many things. But we have to realize all these things, they come from Krishna and not from us. But if we just want to lie flat, you know, fall down in front of Krishna and the spiritual master, and then they can empower us.
But he gives us according to our desires. We have, like, we say, oh, you know, I wish I can help these people or something, and then he gives us the channels by which we can.
He did the arrangement. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of my observation or my
But the problem is we also speculate about what he wants us to do, you know, so the best thing is just to surrender to him and let him direct us what to do.
If we don't have the desire for a certain thing, because if you're a blank slate, he also, I mean, poor thing, he doesn't know what to, no, I mean, he knows everything, that's true, but but if we have an interest or a desire, then he can, and if it is along the lines of his plan for us, he makes it happen. He helps it to happen.
Yeah, if it's in line with what he wants us to do.
That's kind of like what I am feeling and I am observing. Yeah.
But like I say, we have to be careful with what we're feeling, because our feeling might be just our own crazy mind telling us what to do, you know, which it has been doing for millions of births, you know. So that's what I'm saying. It's good to check with what your feelings are saying, which is your mind. Check that with the saintly persons, the devotees, or the guru, like that, or the scriptures, just to check. This is our 3-point check. It's always good to have some
check and balance.
Check and balance. Even in accounting, right? You've got to have a check and balance. Otherwise, they'll throw you out of accounting school if you don't have your check and balance. You know, so with us too, we want to check and balance. It's like, I mean, my mind is telling me this, but let's see if it matches up with what, you know, the scriptures say, with what the devotee is saying and like that. And if it does, that's good. If it's not, then we just have to give it up. Like that. You know, like that.
No, because Krishna himself will tell, because you have something you want to do, but if it is not in his plan, it'll never work.
Exactly.
How much of effort you put in, and like why, and you get so angry and frustrated, why is this not happening? And because it was not meant for you to do this.
Exactly. Prabhupada said, I had an idea to spread Krishna consciousness as a rich man. Means that he wanted to become successful in business and then use all that wealth and money to spread Krishna consciousness. But then Prabhupada said, but Krishna had another plan. He wanted me to spread Krishna consciousness as a poor man.
But he became rich after that.
He did, but when he left India, he only had 40 rupees in his pocket. He was a poor man, you know. He couldn't even afford a ticket to America. He had to get a free ticket from the owner of the shipping company, Srimati Marjorie, and on the Jaladuta. He had to get a free ticket because he didn't have any money, you know. So he said, I wanted to spread Krishna consciousness as a rich man, but Krishna had another idea for me to do it as a poor man, like that. So yeah, it's always good to just check. But yeah, the best way to control the mind and the best way to connect up with what Krishna wants is by chanting the holy name. You know, so that's the best method to help to control the mind. And if we control the mind, then the material desires will come under control. And then if we've controlled the mind and the material desires, then we can develop the pure bhakti. And then by the pure bhakti, like it's saying, then that is the ticket back to Godhead. By the pure bhakti. So we've got a few minutes left. Let's just read the purport for today's verse. And also, just one thing, in the translation it says, although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. So this is a mystical the mystical thing about God. Although God is a person, he is in the spiritual world, but his energies are everywhere. So he's all pervading by his different energies. So that's what it's saying here. He's present in his abode. And at the same time, it says, he is all pervading. That means present everywhere. And everything is situated within him. So that means, this is inconceivable, that God is inside of everything. And everything is inside of God. Does that bend your mind a little bit? So what we call a mind bender. So God is inside everything, and everything is inside God at the same time. And at the same time, he's outside of everything because he's in the spiritual world, which is outside. So he's outside everything in the spiritual world. He's inside everything, and everything is inside of him, all happening at the same time. So this is what God is. God is unlimited. He's unlimited. He's a person, and yet he's present everywhere at the same time, like that. And yeah. This is God's omnipotencies. Very powerful. Very powerful. And the evidence of that is like, for example, Prahlad was asked by his father, Hiranyakashipu, where are you getting your power from? He said, well, the same place you're getting your power from God. He didn't like that answer. To hear that his power is coming from God, Vishnu. And he said, well, where is this Vishnu? He said, Prahlad said, he's everywhere. And then Hiranyakashipu said, if he's everywhere, then he must be in this pillar. And if he's in this pillar, then I will kill him. So he pulled out a sword and bashed the pillar. And sure enough, as Prahlad said, he's everywhere. So he came out of the pillar. So that was just verifying that, yeah, although Krishna's in the spiritual world, but he can appear anywhere, anytime in the material world also, because he's present everywhere. So he can immediately manifest in any place he chooses, you know, but Krishna's especially present wherever his devotees are. That's especially where he likes to be. He likes to be. There's one verse where the Lord says to Narada Muni, he says, I'm not in Vaikuntha. And that's a surprise. I thought that's where he was. And then in the spiritual world. And then he says, I'm not in the heart of the yogi, because that's what the yogis are meditating on, God in the heart, right? But this verse, he says, I'm not in the heart of the yogi. And then, oh, where are you then? Then he says, I am wherever my devotees are chanting my glories. So that's what we want to know, you know, where God is. So wherever devotees are lovingly chanting his glories, you know, talking about him, singing his names, that's especially where Krishna is present there. Krishna's present there. Yeah. Just like Hanuman. Hanuman he'll go anywhere where there's Ram Katha. Wherever there's talking about Ramayan, then Hanuman will be there. Because that's where Ram is. Ram is wherever there's devotees are talking about his glories, his pastimes, he's present there. And Hanuman knows that truth, so he always goes. One devotee was asking, I want to find Hanuman. How can I find Hanuman? He said, you go to wherever there is Ramayan, Katha, and you look. Who is the first person to come and the last person to go? That'll be Hanuman. So much taste for hearing the Ram Katha. Okay, let's read the purport. Deepa, do you want to read a bit?
It is here clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return is the abode of Krishna, the Supreme Person. The Brahma Samhita describes this supreme abode as Ananda Chintamaya Rasa, a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. All the variedness manifest there is of the quality of spiritual bliss. Oh, variegatedness, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing there is material. That is variegatedness. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead Himself. For the manifestation, there is totally of the spiritual energy as explained in chapter 7. As far as this material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, he is nonetheless all-pervading by his material energy. So by his spiritual and material energies, he is present everywhere, both in the material and in the spiritual universes. Yarshata Dani means that everything is sustained within him, within either his spiritual or material energy. The Lord is all-pervading by these two energies.
I'll read the next one, and then we'll jump into the last one. To enter Krishna's supreme abode or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktya. No other process can help one attain that supreme abode. The Vedas also describe the supreme abode in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that abode, there is only one Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose name is Krishna. He is the supreme, merciful deity. And although situated there as one, he has expanded himself into millions and millions of plenary expansions. The Vedas compare the Lord to a tree standing still, yet bearing many varieties of fruits, flowers, and changing leaves. The plenary expansions of the Lord who preside over the Vaikuntha planets are four-armed, and they are known by a variety of names: Purushottama, Trivikrama, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Hrishikesha, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Narayana, Vamana, Padmanabha, etc. Gulshan, you want to read the last one?
The Brahma Samhita also confirmed that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode, Goloka Vrindavan, he is all providing so that everything is going on nicely. Goloka Eva Navestya Akhilta Bhuta. As stated in the Vedas, such, his energy is so expensive that they systematically conducted everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away.
So yeah, I don't have much time, but just it was saying in the beginning that Deepa was reading that this variegatedness, so that means a lot of varieties in the spiritual world, and it was saying that all the varieties in the spiritual world, it's all expanding from God himself. What does it mean by what kind of varieties in the spiritual world? Basically, everything that's here in the material world is there. So Prabhupada said, like there's cows in the spiritual world, there's peacocks in the spiritual world, there's all kind of birds, there's fish in the spiritual world, there's lotuses, and there's mangoes and bananas, and so whatever's here is there. But there, everything is eternal, and everything is manifested from him. And like it said, Chinmaya Rasa, everything is full of bliss. Everything is conscious. Like the cow is Krishna conscious, the grass is Krishna conscious, the mango is Krishna conscious, the bird is Krishna conscious. So everything there is full of consciousness and eternal. Nothing there, the animals don't grow old, they don't die. Nothing grows old, nothing wears out like that. Like Krishna's garland is eternal. It's an eternal garland. The flowers never fade. Nothing fades there or anything like that. These are all expansions from God himself. his own spiritual energy. So yeah, lots of varieties there. In most other spiritual traditions, they're going to teach that in the spiritual world is just nothingness. It's just like a void. Like in Buddhism, they just talk about a voidness. And
a light or some a light.
What's that?
Brahma.
Yeah, light, but still no variety. No variety, yeah. So only you'll get in the Vaishnava and Vedic culture an understanding about the spiritual varieties. But in many other traditions, they'll just teach there's just nothingness or oneness. Everything is one or everything is nothing. But it's, you know, who's attracted to that? You know, put up your hand if you want to go to a place where there's just nothing or there's just light or something. It's not very attractive. So no wonder why people are not serious about giving up materialistic life and getting more into spiritual life, because it's not being presented properly. People present it in such a boring way that it's just nothing. You know, it's just empty void or something like that. So this is actually putting people off.
It's hard to conceptualize. It's hard to concept, like, you know, like when it's just blank like this, like, yeah, you don't know how to, where, like, you know, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. You because we don't have any experience of that, of just nothingness or whatever. You can't visualize it. You can't picture it because it's nothing. It's nothing to picture like that. So yeah, it's a very difficult path, and that we don't have time now to look at that, but you can look at it. It's the 12th chapter, text 5. Krishna talks about that. This path of impersonalism and voidism is 12th chapter, text 5. And Krishna mentions there, this is a very difficult path because you've got nothing to fix your mind on. Nothing to fix your mind on. So it's very difficult to progress on that path because there's nothing to focus on like that. Whereas we have a lot to focus on. You know, Krishna's beautiful form, and he's playing the flute. He's got a peacock feather in his hair, and he's got cows around him. He's got his hand around his friend's neck like that. And he's got some yogurt and sugar and butter in his left hand, and he's eating it and stuff like that. So, you know, we got a lot to visualize and focus on and meditate on. It's so much better, so much easier.
It's relatable.
Yeah, we can relate, and with something, you know, something related to our own experiences. Because we eat food too, and we have hands and legs and all these kind of things, and it's things that we can relate to. And interesting, in the Christian Bible it says in the Bible that God made humanity in his image.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not that we have made up Krishna's form from our form. It's the other way around. Because some people say that oh, you religious people, you've just made up a form of God from your mind. No, it's not like that. It's actually our form comes from his form, like that. His form is the original form, and this is just like a replica, you know, of his form like that. And it's also mentioned here that there's many planets in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, and they all have their own presiding deity. And it's mentioned here some of their names: Purushottam, Trivikram, Keshava, Madhava. So these are all four-handed Narayan forms. They all have four hands. And according to which symbol of Vishnu they're holding in a particular hand, that determines which name they have. They're known by a particular name. Like one will have the conch shell in the top left hand. Another one will have a club in the top left hand. Another one will have the disc in the top left hand. Another one will have the lotus in the top left hand. And then the other one will have something else in the top right hand and the bottom right hand, the bottom left hand. So according to which symbols are in which hand, then they have different names. One will be known Trivikram, you know, like that, Vamana, like that, Kurma, like that. So, and then there'll be so many devotees there on those planets, Lakshmi, Narayan, and so many devotees and animals and plants and everything. And the very top planet, well, that's Krishna's planet, Goloka Vrindavan. And Krishna there has 2 hands. But all the other planets, the Lord has 4 hands. But in the topmost planet, Goloka Vrindavan, then God has 2 hands there. And he's the source of all these other forms. He's the source of all these other forms. And then finally, in the last paragraph, is mentioning that everything is going on nicely in the spiritual world and the material world due to all of Krishna's energies. So Krishna's energies are taking care of everything. It's not that Krishna has to personally do everything himself. No, Krishna's just playing on his flute. He doesn't have to run around managing everything. He's got so many energies that take care of everything. Like, for example, in the material world, Durga is taking care of everything. You know, Shiva, Durga, Brahma is the creator, Shiva is the destroyer, Durga or Parvati Maya, she is controlling, she is in charge of the material world like that. Vishnu is maintaining, and Krishna's just in the spiritual world playing his flute, eating butter and feeding it to the monkeys, and everything else is going on automatically. And Prabhupada gives a nice example, just like in a big business, say like Birla, that is Birla in the factory? No, Birla's not in the factory, all the workers in the factory. Birla's playing golf or something, you know, or at home with his grandkids, you know, playing with his grandkids. But all of his different, you know, workers and energies are carrying on everything, you know, so many businesses, so many enterprises, you know, and it's just automatically going on. But Birla is in control of everything. So it's like he's present everywhere through all of his factories and offices and everything. His energy is there, isn't it? So everyone in all those places knows that I'm working for Birla, you know, and that Birla would want me to do this and don't do that and do this, you know. So his energies are carrying on everything, but he doesn't have to personally be in all the places, but it's all working under his direction. It's all working under his control like that. So that's a really good example to help us understand how it works. So God doesn't have to personally be everywhere, but everything's going on under his direction, under his control. These are all his different energies. So, you know, Krishna tells Suryadev, okay, I want you to go in this orbit. And he, yes, sir. And, you know, to Chandra, okay, Chandra, I want you to go in this orbit. And yes, sir. You know, and Varuna, you do like this, and Vayu, you do like this, and, you know, like that. So and Shiva, I want you to do this, and Brahma, you do that. And they just carry out his orders like that. So these are all his different energies, you know, doing everything. And so it's all going on very, very well organized, you know. Just like if there's a very well-run business, you can understand the leader must be very good. If the leader is very good, then the business is very good.
Yeah.
You know, and if the business is not very good, what do you know?
Leader's no good.
The leader's no good. So yeah, the universe is going on very wonderfully. So we know it must be a very good leader. It must be a very intelligent leader. So lovely to be with you again. Does anyone want to say anything?